Number 5 gives us some parallel lines. So we know SA is parallel to NE. And that's given. We know that SE is parallel to NA. That's also given. And we're trying to figure out that SA and NE are the same length. Okay, so my strategy here is to prove that this whole triangle and that whole triangle are congruent, and then name some congruent parts, namely the two that I'm trying to prove congruent. Remember that parallel does not equal congruent. So a lot of kids are like, oh, they're parallel, that means they're the same length. Not quite. That means they never intersect, which is great, but we need to use those parallel lines to find alternate interior angles rather than name any sides are congruent. So I have NE and SA. Those are parallel lines cut by a transversal. So I know angle 3 and angle 4 are congruent. So angle 3 is congruent to angle 4 because my alternate interior angles are congruent. Similar reasoning, but this time SE and NA are my parallel lines cut by a transversal, so angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent. Same reasoning though, alternate interior angles are congruent. I need to get a side because I have to have a side to prove that they're congruent. And lucky for us, SN is in both of those triangles. So I can say SN is congruent to SN because it's the same side or because of the reflexive property. I'm going to do a little erasing so we can see our letters again, but I'm going to color back the important stuff. So we know parallel here, those are parallel, we said these are the same, and these are the same. Great. Oh, and that's the same. Our next step then is to name our triangles congruent. So triangle NES is congruent to triangle SAN. And we used angle, side angles, right? Two angles and the side in between them. Our final step then is to name the parts we wanted congruent, so SA and NE. And I'm going to actually do SN. Nope. I'm actually going to do NE and SA. Simply because NE is in this triangle and I like having them lined up. If you don't like that though, that's okay. You're going to be fine. So NE is congruent to SA because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent.